All right, y'all. We are live on this beautiful Monday. Blessings to everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah. Even if you are not religious, I still pray you and your family are super blessed, as Bitcoin is right now attempting to burst through the stratosphere into the ionosphere and the exosphere and all the layers of atmosphere until we just pop into the vacuum of space and go straight to the moon. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Shout out to my man Zayshawn Sean, he's the first one in here. Shout out to Crypto Incognito. Merry Christmas, y'all. Shout out to Robert Ortiz buying some Cook coin. Shout out to Raymond Hickey. Casper Crew never stops trading. That's right, baby. Shout out to Crypto Kyle. He says Merry Christmas to you. Shout out to I Own So. He says CoQ. That reminds me of the supplement you take for your heart, CoQ10. If you know what I'm saying. Shout out to Crypto Kyle. What's up, man? Shout out to No Limits, Cushmaster. Let's go, baby. Shout out to Joe. That's right, we're playing the pump song. Shout out to Psychedelic Astronaut. We gonna bump. We gonna dump. No, we gonna pump, baby. Shout out to Crypto Owl. Shout out to Med Kirk. Bitcoin to 38,700. All right. Shout out to Sionic brother. What's going on, my brother? Shout out to Bitcoin Zodiac. He says I look handsome. Well, you know what, man? You look pretty dang handsome yourself, my friend. Shout out to Cham Smith, Chamith 007. Shout out to Gowd. And shout out to Dex Meal. What's going on? Gen X Crypto with the Merry Christmas wishes. Shout out to Valentine X Gabriel. Shout out to Reza Crypto. Shout out to Renner. Shout out to Reza Crypto again, baby. He loves the energy, man. We're trying to keep it energetic up in here. Repping the reverse SBF Man Blue Pattern Squad. Shout out to Summit Thapa. He says, yo, stuff is grass. Stuff is grass. Nice, man. We're still in a pullback, right? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. So we're gonna talk about what's going on with Bitcoin, because here's the thing, guys. We have to remember that when we are in a holiday, there's low volatility in these markets. And when there's low volatility in the markets, well, it means that people can really move the market with, let's just say, less money, right? So we did see some pretty intense whale absorption that did give us a pump. We're going to talk about why we got the pump. We're going to talk about why we're getting a pullback here, and why actually we're coming down to a make it or break it zone of support right around this area. And we're going to take a look at some altcoins as well. Make sure to smash the dang like button, guys, because I probably won't have them today, but if we can get 1,000 likes in the first 45 minutes of this stream, we will be giving away 1,000 USDT. Ape says, looks like 2 handles, 1 cup forming. Is that a reference to that viral video from like 2007 or whatever? Shout out to FOMO Sapien. Shout out to Dippy J. Shout out to Ian Chargery. He says, bro, can I take this trade now? Bro, no. I mean, look, I can't tell you what to do. If you longed the golden pocket, then I'd say you're already in a successful scalp trade, right? If you long the golden pocket, you've already had the opportunity to take a nice profit, honestly. But, look, I don't know. If I was looking at this chart right now, if I came to this chart, I would not be taking any trades right now. That's just me. But what do I know? I don't know anything. Alright, let's lower the music now that we're playing some metal. Why music, Bob? That's just how we roll on this channel, my friend. You know? That's just how I roll. Shout out to Payless. Yeah, we'll take a look at Solana. Shout out to Med Kirk Athletic Trader. I do try and be the most athletic trader in the game, you know? That is one of the things that I like to do. Shout out to Daniel. He says we need the pump, not the dump. Yeah, for this trade to work out, we do need the pump and not the dump. So let's go ahead and let's get back to our regular 80s synthwave music. Here we go. Here we go. Back to the good old 80s. Shout out to everybody in the chat. All right, let's get into some of this Bitcoin. Let's get into some of this Bitcoin TA right here. And who knows, maybe this stream will warrant an actual pump song, right? So what is going on with the Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin did in fact. Well, here's the long and the short of it. The long and the short of it. All right. When we take a look at this Bitcoin chart, we are objectively speaking on the higher term timeframes still in a bullish trend, right? It is a holiday. We know the market can be moved very easily, but when we go to the weekly time frame, within the next few days, right? Actually, let's go to the monthly. We have one more week left of 2023, and objectively speaking, guys, it's been a very bullish year, man. I have to say, I'm actually very proud of myself and just very satisfied with this year of trading because I've done very well. I'm proud of my analysis. I'm proud of the trades that I've taken. I'm proud that I was bullish under 20K. And I'm happy that I was not fearful under 20K, that I was buying Bitcoin as aggressively as I could down at this level, under 20K. And I'm not upset that I sold Bitcoin at 38K either. I'm not upset that I sold a lot of Bitcoin right here either. Okay, I am not, because that is a very juicy gain. Okay, that is a 100% gain. Okay, if you can't take profit after 100% gain, you have a problem. All right, you have a problem because we're here to make money, right? We're not here to watch the number go up. Could we make more money? Of course, we could always make more money. But we're not here to make as much as possible. We're here so that we can do things in life that we want to do, right? Trading is not an end of itself. It's a means to an end so we can build infrastructure in the real world, right? We're not just here to stack it for no reason. That's silly. Now, when we look at this chart in the monthly, objectively speaking, it has been a very bullish year. We are in an uptrend. We have made a high, a low, and now a higher high. We could literally look at this year as just one big move up, one pullback, another move up. We go to the weekly time frame. What do we see? Same deal. Very bullish chart, higher highs and higher lows. And when we take a look at the volume that has traded over here in the basically the last bull market, you can see that we are just below a very important area of resistance, at least on the Bybit chart. And if we go to the Coinbase chart, we can see that instead of coming up to the volume point of control, we are actually coming up to the value area high on Coinbase, around that $49,000 zone, right? So this is a very bullish chart. We know our next major target is going to be around that $49,000 zone, all right? Something else that we need to keep in mind here is the fact that the weekly has confirmed a red dot now for the first time since July 2023. Now, even in this uptrend, every time we confirm the red dot, all right, the red dot confirms, typically, after a little bit of time, we get a bit of a pullback, right? We got the red dot that confirmed here, ended up with a 22% pullback. Red dot confirmed over here in April. It took some time after the confirmation, but yeah, we ended up from that high getting about a 22% pullback. And now we have confirmed the red dot last week, which was a bullish week, right? But so we can't be surprised if Bitcoin gets a bit of a pullback in the new year, right? We cannot be surprised. So this is the higher term time frame, right? Higher term time frame, our next target is going to be $47,000 to $49,000. We could very easily hit that within the next week or two or so. But we also have to realize the fact that we are coming to a pretty important area of resistance, and the higher time frames are not bearish, okay? But they're saying it's time for a pullback, right? When we come to the daily time frame, what are we seeing? We are starting to see basically the momentum waves and the money flow getting lower here, telling us that, you know what, maybe a pullback is necessary for this move to maintain its health to the upside, right? So we are currently still in this very bullish trend. Now, when we come down to the lower time frames, like let's go to the 4 hour, we are seeing something similar to what we've seen in the past, which is the Bitcoin price is consolidating right now in what does appear to be an ascending triangle pattern, right? You could say that we have really been making higher lows here, and we have been making equal highs here, give or take, right? This is key resistance, and we've seen this before, right? In fact, we saw this right over here before the big breakout pretty much kind of in the same time frame as well, where we were forming this large ascending triangle pattern. Everybody, including myself, was waiting for these lows to get taken out so that we could get ourselves into a very juicy long trade after stopping everybody out. But that never happened. So are we doing the same exact thing right now? Well, it is interesting that depending on how we draw this triangle here, if we take the trend line from the measured move and just measure it up, we can see it actually is taking us right to $49,000, right? So the target of this breakout actually is our next major area of resistance, which is a beautiful target, which is another, if we do get the breakout, about a 10 to 15% move to the upside, right? Because it's a zone of resistance. So yeah, that's actually what we do have going on in the chart right now. So more locally, we could say that this pattern right here, this triangle, this is our playground where we are looking for the juicy trades. Okay, this is our playground where we are looking for the juicy trades. So we know basically what's happened here. You know, Bitcoin, the fact that we are unable to make a lower low, in my opinion, is actually looking kind of bullish, right? It actually is looking kind of bullish. So we came up, we made our first high right here on the 5th of December. I believe it was a Tuesday. And yeah, look at that. We made our first high. And when we made that high, whenever we make a new high on any chart, we need to mark it out because we know that a lot of people see that we're getting a rejection. So what do? They short, right? They short. They're like, oh, we're getting a high. Time to short. What does that mean? Well, when a lot of people short, it means the market makers are going to want to stop out those shorts before dumping into the downside, right? Which is why in the Casper crew, we gave that short setup in advance. We're like, you know what a great short it would be if we just stop everybody out and then dump it. Well, that's pretty much exactly what happened because we came up, we stopped out the shorts, we got the big dump, we took the short trade. Now, believe it or not, I actually still am holding that short trade because there is a chance, guys. There is a chance that that was a very significant high that we put in. I'm not saying it is, but there is a chance. So I am not going to close the short trade. Speaking of taking profits, right? I did sell Bitcoin at 38K. But look, I took a profit on the short trade as well. All right, I took a dang profit on the short trade. No matter what, I've made money on the short trade. If it dumps more, I make more money. If I get stopped out at my entry, I've still made money, right? That's the key in these markets, right? Guarantee you're going to make something. Don't just hope and pray that it goes more in your direction, right? So we made that first high. We got the dump. And then, you know, here's the thing. This is where things actually start to get kind of bullish. I have to say, at all of these lows, right? At this low, even at this low, we saw some very bullish things happening on the charts. These lows are being defended. So let me show you what I mean. After we got the high and we got the low, Bitcoin comes up and rejects right from the Fibonacci Golden Pocket retest, okay? Fibonacci Golden Pocket retest. Now, if you don't know about the Fibonacci Golden Pocket, if we are going to be changing trend, right? Let's say, for example, we're in an uptrend. We're making a high, a higher low, a higher 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 high, and then all of a sudden we make a lower low, right? And we come in, we take out the previous higher low. This is our first little sign that maybe there's a trend reversal. And then what we do is we look for the retest into the Fibonacci Golden Pocket, and if we get a rejection from the Golden Pocket, it actually becomes more probable than not that we will continue in a downtrend from here. But as we came down to this area, right, after we rejected from that Fibonacci Golden Pocket, what do we see as we come down here? We actually saw bullish absorption happening on the chart at this low. All right, if we take a look here at the order flow chart, what we see when we come down to this higher low is we see a lot of short trades opening up. Now, the market is moved by the participants in the market, right? So if there are more short trades than long trades, we would see price making lower highs and lower lows like this, okay? But look at this. What is price doing? Instead of making lower lows, price is actually coming in here and making a higher low and getting a bounce. And when we take a look at our indicators down here, the CVD and the open interest, we can see that actually there are legitimate new traders entering into the market here. We can tell this because the open interest is increasing. That basically just means traders are opening up new positions, right? When the open interest gets higher, that means traders are opening new positions. And then we see the CVD, this green line. This CVD tells us what direction are those trades in. Are those new trades longs or are they shorts? If the CVD is getting higher over time, that means those are new longs coming in. If the CVD is getting lower over time, that tells us there's more shorts coming in, right? So we see the open interest getting higher over time, telling us new traders are opening up positions. The CVD tells us these are traders opening up short trades, yet the price is making a higher low. That's the opposite of what we expect, right? So the only explanation for this, guys, is that there's a whale. Here's my whale, all right? This whale is absorbing those short trades. Every time one of those retail traders is shorting the bottom, this whale is filling up a limit long order, all right? He is absorbing those short trades, right? All the people shorting are not shorting a value that's more than this whale's long order. He is filling up a big old buy order. Now, why is he doing that? The reason why the whale was doing that is because we were trading in this pattern here, which was a triangle, right? It was a symmetrical triangle, and this whale knows that if he wants to build a big buy order, he needs a lot of people who are going to sell, right? So what did he do? He waits until the retail traders sell the breakdown of the triangle, and he absorbs all those shorts, and then boom, he pushes the price to the upside, which is showing us that at these lows, the level is being defended by the bigger players, right? The bigger players want to see Bitcoin at a higher price, right? Well, guess what happened last night, right? Last night, we saw a very similar thing happen here. Where did my whale go? Where's my whale? Oh no, is he gone? Might have to draw a new whale. Well, last night we saw something very similar happen here, right? Look at this. Down here, we actually saw, as the price was making higher lows, the CVD was getting much lower, the open interest was increasing very, very much, and this is called a bullish CVD divergence, okay? A bullish CVD divergence, aka whales absorbing, and boom, we get the big pump to the upside now. Now, these trades, right? We have been, in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, we have been crushing these charts, right? We took the short from the high right up here, and then also we gave the short trade from this second high right here. That's the trade I'm currently in right now. And then that trade played out perfectly. We had this zone of support down here at, basically between 42.6 and 42.9. And that's exactly where we are bouncing from right now, okay? That's where we came down to after this short trade right here. We came down, we hit our target, 42.6 to 42.9. Now we're getting the bounce from this general long idea that we gave in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. And I did not get into a long from the bottom because I didn't see my confirmations, but I did happen to grab a long when we got a retest from one of these golden pockets down here, okay? Basically, when I saw the bullish absorption as we basically came down to this golden pocket, I'm like, you know what? It's now or never. Let's go for it. Already locked in a juicy TP1. Stop loss in profit. And here's what's happening now, guys. We are coming up to the resistance, the Fibonacci golden pocket resistance. Okay, look at how accurate these Fibonacci levels are, right? Literally, my long trade, I entered it because we came down to the 618 Fibonacci right here. Then we get a move up to the 618 Fibonacci retest, and now we're actually getting a local bounce from the 618 Fibonacci support, right? From 618 to 618 to 618. And yeah, it's true, guys. I mean, 618, the 618 level is a girl named 618. She was my high school crush. I had a real thing for this chick, and I thought she was into me too, but it turns out I was in the friend zone. She was using me because I would let her copy my homework and my tests and my labs in biology class. I thought she was into me. She was not into me. So when I asked her out on a date, she gave me the hand, she gave me the face, she rejected me, and as you can see here, there's actually a graph of my emotions when she said, "Ugh, Jason Casper, I would never be your girlfriend," right? What are you thinking? Well, here's the thing. Why did she reject your boy Jay Casper in the first place? Right? I mean, what's so bad about this guy? All right? We even got matching tattoos. What's so bad about this guy? Right? Well, I'll tell you what's so bad about it. 618 is not into a nice guy like your boy JC. No. She's into bad guys like this guy down here, Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, Sam Bankman-Fried, what does she like about him? Well, his abnormal breasticles. Look at how the left side is so much larger and more plump than the right side. All right? Now, this is actually known in the medical literature as a bearish divergence, right? Let's actually take a look at Bitcoin here, and let's see what happened as we came up to this Fibonacci golden pocket that we're currently rejecting from right now. All right, we're going to go down to some of these lower term time frames, like the 6 minute. All right. Now, would you look at this? Would you look at this? All right. We didn't even go up to the 10-minute time frame. As the price is getting higher into our Fibonacci golden pocket, aka as we're getting as we're building up the testicular fortitude to ask this young woman out on a date, look at market cipher B, and what do we see? We can see that over time, the momentum waves there are getting lower. Okay, now this is, once again, in the New England Journal of Medicine, they don't call it a bearish divergence. They call it the upside down Sandberg-McFried man-boob pattern. We can even superimpose the mammary glands onto the chart and see, wow, that does start to look pretty dang bearish, doesn't it? And it even looks sad, right? It almost looks like a frowny face going on right here, right? With one eye, right? A one-eyed frowny going on right here, right? That doesn't look too happy. On Christmas too? Come on. So we got that bearish div. We're starting to get a little bit of a retracement from here, but here's what we really need to focus on. When we are looking at this triangular pattern here, we are right now forming locally now a range within a range, right? We are printing a range within a range. So on these higher term time frames, we are looking at this giant, what we are looking at as an ascending triangle. Okay, this entire thing is a sideways range right here. Okay, but also we're trading a mini range within this larger range. Now this is very key, because if we can reclaim this key level of around, I'm going to say $43,900. It's a zone, but it's a very, very key level. Why? Because not only is it the 618 Fibonacci who broke our heart, but it's also, if we take a look here, a very, very high volume node that we have basically been forming all the way since the beginning of December. Okay, so if we can actually come above this level, I do believe that we're going to see Bitcoin make a new high, right? I do believe we're going to see Bitcoin make a new high, and I do believe we're going to break out of that. And I'll tell you why I'm leaning a little bit bullish right now, okay? First of all, please understand that it is a holiday, and we can get massive amounts of volatility because smaller players can move the market and people can get liquidated. But when I look right now at the 4-hour time frame, I am seeing something that I like, which is the following, right? We are seeing a green dot printing here, confirmed. We are seeing money flow getting higher over time, right? The last time we got a nice anchor wave here, it gave us a big move to the upside, came back down for a nice retest, and now we're once again coming down to a key zone of support, right? This is a key zone of support. This is, I mean, the level that we were looking at in the Casper Crew VIP Discord right here. This is not just any arbitrary level. You know what I'm saying? So it's a key level. Now, when we go to the 1-hour time frame, what do we see on the 1 hour? This is where things get quite interesting. We're actually seeing hidden bullish divergences here, going all the way back to that last major low where we saw the bullish absorption, right? So we're putting in a higher low, but we're seeing market cipher B make a lower low and print a nice bottom here, right? A nice bottom here. And we can see it on the 1 hour. We can see it even on the 2 hour here, right? The 2 hour market cipher B is making a slightly lower wave here. At least we could say it's making a slightly lower wave, definitely from this one. This one is a little bit questionable here. This one definitely higher low in the chart, lower low in the momentum waves. And we're even seeing it down on some of these lower time frames as well, right? Even on the 24-minute, we can see definitely that we've got the momentum waves getting lower, a very, very oversold wave here, like extremely oversold, as the price is making a higher low in an uptrend, in a bullish pattern, okay? So for me, the main level that I am going to be interested in for Bitcoin is around that $44,000 level. Because if we can reclaim this, two things. Number one, we are trading above the majority of the volume that we traded all month, right? Above the majority of the volume that we traded all month. When most of the volume is below us and we've reclaimed it as support, that is bullish. Secondly, we do have some liquidity from these highs here, which could simply result in a chickens drinking water pattern, aka a failed swing high, aka a swing failure pattern, right? Something like this. So if we can get above this level, I definitely am expecting the breakout, okay? Now to the downside, right now, my very key level that I'm keeping my eyes on is going to have to be this right around here. Right around that $43,300-ish level. Why? Well, because if we pull a fib from the low to the high, actually not from that low, from that second low that we put in, the one for the impulse, we can see that this golden pocket and the 786 is just coming down to our historical area of support, right? Meaning if we can hold this once again, this is showing that what was support once, twice, 3, 4 times, flipped into resistance, now breakout. If this holds as support, that once again is going to be quite bullish for me, in my opinion, because it's a historical zone of support. And so that's where we find ourselves for Bitcoin right now. So a few things that we need to consider here is, number one, if this is going to be an ascending triangle pattern, there's a few ways to look at this. If we simply connect the lows, right, we can see that we didn't really test the bottom of this trend line at all, right? In fact, we could get a move all the way down to here and still have this valid pattern, right? So this is something that we do need to keep in mind. In addition, the 4-hour time frame has not given us a hidden bullish divergence yet. So if this level does not hold and we come down lower, I am not going to get bearish on this unless we actually close a candle below the bottom of this range, right? Because that would be silly. Silly. The reason it would be silly is because, look, although we can see bearish signs forming on the chart, we don't have any confirmed change of market structure right now. So if we come down a little bit lower, let's say to this trend line once again, and we do see the 4-hour give us something like this, a very deep oversold wave here, that would be extremely bullish because that would be giving us a hidden bullish divergence. And if we go down to the lower time frames, like the 1 hour, and we start to see regular bullish divergences forming here, like what would we want to see on the 1 hour? We would want to see the 1 hour looking like basically giving us this deep momentum wave right here, and then coming down to give us a not so deep momentum wave here, right? Giving us that juicy uneven butt cheek pattern with the juicy left butt cheek and then the not so juicy right butt cheek, right? Looking just like this. That's exactly what we'd want to see right around here. And if we do that, then I do believe we could still see some support. And honestly, unless, like I said, we start to close a daily candle below $40,000, I'm still saying it's more probable for now that we actually hit those next major areas of resistance. Because the truth is, besides a few minor levels, we haven't really topped out anywhere significant, right? There's very important resistances above us, and it seems strange to me that we just come here and don't hit into anything significant. It seems a little strange to me. Could it happen? Of course, right? Bitcoin bottomed out at $15,500, not at any nice key levels. It just bottomed out down there. And, you know, I longed literally the exact bottom of Bitcoin because we did the opposite of what we did here, right? We started to form a range, and we formed a range, except it was upside down of this. We put in a low, and then when we took the low and got the stop hunt, I took a long trade. It just so happened to be like the exact bottom, right? So perhaps the opposite is happening right now, right? Perhaps the opposite is happening right now. Now let's check on our Bitcoin chart here, because Bitcoin is getting a bit of a move to the downside. All right, now I am in a long, so maybe I'll get wrecked here. Christmas wrecked, baby. The real King Solomon, he says, take your profits, y'all been warned. Are you talking about the short trades or the long trades? Short trades or long trades? Jay says we're going under 40K by the end of this week, period. Shout out to Joe Potter. He says, bullish corkscrew catapult formation, long and strong. Shout out to Jay. He says, this is all nonsense. Shout out to Memory Man. He says, don't make me doubt my trading some Bitcoin for USDT. Bro, look, man, let me clarify all this. I just gave a bullish case, okay? I just gave a bullish case. But, I am not... for anybody new who's watching, if you don't follow my trading, okay, I have a different trading style than a lot of people. All right, I can literally trade two ideas at the same time. okay? I can trade a bullish idea and a bearish idea at the same time. That's how I like to trade, okay? Because here's why. I'm long. I have my stop loss and profit. If my bullish idea fails on me and I don't hit this take profit, guess what? Winning trade, okay? Winning trade. But at the same time here, I'm also short from the short setup that I took, I think it was a few weeks ago now, right? And I have a bearish plan for this as well, where I'm going to be taking profits 38K and actually lower, okay? So I'm still short as well as long. I've got, right now, I have about almost $200,000 in a short, okay? And here's the thing. None of us can know for certain what the price is going to do. None of us can know for certain what the price is going to do, okay? This entire way up, I have been shorting, right? I have been shorting this entire way up, and my plan has always been basically take profit early, move that stop loss to the entry, take profit early, move the stop loss to the entry, and then let the rest ride, okay? I've been successful with that, all right? These are the short trades I've taken during this uptrend, all right? All except one is a win, okay? And so look, I know this sounds crazy, but I am able to trade two ideas at the same time and let my ideas both play out to the full extent of those ideas without feeling like, you know, without feeling any kind of like FOMO or anything like that, right? So when I present my bullish case to you, I truly believe that this bullish case is possible, and I am actively trading this bullish case, which is why my long trade has the next take profit at $45,000, okay? That is my bullish case. I could give a bearish case as well, and my bearish case is that the top is in, and we're gonna come back down to retest, okay? Now, some people think this is ridiculous, but this mentality that I have has saved me a lot of money, and it's made me a lot of money because I don't really have a bias. I'm always kind of neutral. I can see things from both sides, right? I just take the trade setups as they come, secure a take profit one after a reasonable risk to reward ratio move the stop loss to the entry or profit, and then kind of forget I'm even in the trade, but let it play out, okay? So let's say that this is the top. First of all, one of the things I think is strange about this high is the fact that when we do look, especially at Coinbase, right? It is weird that we're going to top out before hitting major resistance, right? We have the golden pocket above us and the value area high of the range. Now, you guys know I was publicly bearish and wrong underneath the point of control, right? I was expecting that this was going to be a fake out, right? I was expecting something like this, okay, to retest $30,000, right? So let's say that this is a significant high for Bitcoin. Then what? Well, if we start to lose $40,000, I say we're coming down to at least the point of control of this range, okay? And honestly, I would not be surprised if we come back down to around $31,000, the value area low of the range. And the reason for that is this. This move to the upside has been a very parabolic move, but it has not left behind any support, like nothing. It's left behind no support. And if we start to lose this level, we'll probably get a bounce from the point of control, but then it becomes more probable that we are entering into a downtrend. And the reason why is because this is the daily time frame. So if we lose this low, yeah, we're probably going to get a bounce, but then we should really be looking for a lower high to come in for this trend to continue downwards. And I believe that once we start losing 38K, these are a whole bunch of stop losses that are going to get triggered. We could fall through here like a hot butter through a knife, okay? Or something like that. And then once we come down here, this massively bullish candle, well, if we go to a TPO chart, that's full of single prints, right? So we're going to fall down through there as well. All right, so if we take a look at how we broke out of there, okay, I don't know if I can go back in time that far on this chart. Let's see. Yeah, it was a while ago now. No, I can't. We have single prints down there, and those single prints will be filled basically when we retest around that $31,000 level. Okay, So those are the two scenarios that could play out. Now, you might say, you know, well, who cares? It could go up, it could go down. Who cares? Well, exactly. So now we know what to be prepared for, right? So if Bitcoin does pump up to this level, we know it's a key area of resistance, so we can look for shorts, right? If Bitcoin starts to dump down here, we can say to ourselves now, okay, now we know it's more probable than not that we get a bounce from here. We could look for a long trade, but then we could look for a short trade, much juicier, down to retest this support, where now we can look for a long. We're already prepared so that we're not sitting on the sidelines, you know, Googling on YouTube, like, what's Bitcoin going to do? Because we kind of already know, right? And this is how we're going to have an edge in the markets, right? Just like the short trade I'm currently in from the high. How did I get into it from the exact high? Was I lucky? No. I was planning for it. Right? Take the high, bam, get a move to the downside. And pretty much all these trades that I've been taking here locally also have been planning for them, right? Check it out. In this short trade, this second short trade here, from the setup that we gave, right? The long trade I'm currently in right now on ZoomX, from this general trading idea that I was planning for, right? So, you know, it's so important that we come to the charts and we ask ourselves, you know, what is probable here? What can we expect to happen, so that when it happens, we're not like, oh my goodness, what's going on? We're like, oh, nice. I've been waiting for this to happen. Now's my opportunity. Shout out to everybody in the chat. God bless you all. Shout out to Aaron G. What is good, Aaron G? Shout out to Joe Potter. Shout out to Pretham. Check out GMT. 26K ain't coming, says MEXC 31. Shout out to Timmy Turner. Shout out to Jay. Shout out to AZTV. Haram coined? What's Haram coined? Shout out to Jagged Mountain. Blessings to you, Jagged Mountain. Thanks so much for being here. Jagged Mountain, an OG of the channel, going all the way back to when I first started. Shout out to Abaddon, says huge wiener. Shout out to God, who says good. And shout out to Joe Potter, who laughs. Shout out to BM, who says we're going to 30K. Yeah, 30K. I would honestly be surprised if we don't eventually come back down to 30K, right? I would be surprised if we don't come down to 30K. And even if... Here's why. Even if we get another move to the upside here, right? Which is very possible. We have to understand that we are now back trading within the old value area of the previous bull market, which means this 30K level is so important. Support, flipped into resistance throughout the entire bear market. Now, if this is going to be like a really nice retest, like I said, this needs to be fixed. I feel like it needs to be fixed. So I hope we come back down to 30K, because if we do, imagine the opportunity we would have, especially if this does start to happen near the Bitcoin halving, right? Near April. We dump down to here, maybe even a little bit lower, just to freak everyone out, right? This is now the opportunity for us to get in my opinion. Probably, I would be looking honestly for some spot buys here too. If we hit 50K, and then we come back down sub 30K, I'm gonna be looking for spot buys into that Bitcoin halving. Honestly, I'm gonna be buying spot. That's gonna be the opportunity of the bull market, in my opinion. And a lot of people are gonna get really bearish, especially if we lose 30K, right? Especially if we lose 30K. I mean, man. Especially if we come down to like 25K, that would be insane. But like a crazy wick, people say it can't happen. But guys, Bitcoin does not usually do what people think, right? It's a tough game out there at Bitcoin. It is a tough game out there. So everybody thought we were coming lower down here. It wouldn't surprise me if we come a little bit lower than people want us to. But either way, the 4-year cycle, I'm a big believer in it. So I am, if we, you know, beginning of 2024, if we are under 30K, I'm going to be buying that dip. I'm going to be buying the dip. For sure. All right, so Bitcoin right now is struggling with the golden pocket. We're not really getting a big move to the downside, but we're not really getting any big moves to the upside here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got about 900 people in here. We only have about 300 likes. Let's see if we can't get the likes up to the watchers. In fact, in the next 15 minutes, if we can get the likes up to the watchers, we're going to do a juicy giveaway. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Ross Carlson. He says, I don't know how much true info comes from the last bull run. For real, TA, you trade both. Do I even lift? Yeah, I do lift, you know. I'm not the most jacked guy in the world, but I do lift. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I would lift weights. I will lift weights for the rest of my life. Even if I never got any more muscular or stronger, I would lift weights for the rest of my life because I love lifting weights, honestly. I love it. I love it. I can't even imagine my life without it. So please, God, don't let me get paralyzed, right? That's like the only hobby I have. That's the only pointless activity I do in my life is lifting weights. And maybe you could argue it's not pointless because it's good for health or whatever. I don't know. But, yeah, it's my only pointless hobby. I don't play sports. I don't play video games. I don't watch TV. I don't do anything. I don't watch movies. Nothing. Lifting weights, that's what I like to do. How many trades do I make per day? Well, it depends. Am I scalping the 5 second? Or am I just swing trading or day trading? So, you know, shout out to Lewis. God bless you, man. Merry Christmas. What is the best entry point? The golden pocket? Yeah, I mean, golden pockets are definitely a great place to look for a trade. They're a high probability, easy invalidation setup, right? So basically, what makes them so nice is you know when you're wrong right away. Because, like, for example, like, let's just take a look at this trade here, right? So now this one is a little bit different. This I didn't actually take the trade from here. I added a little bit to this trade to get me up to here. But let's say, right, that we are longing a golden pocket, right? We know exactly where we are wrong, right? If you see we're getting a bounce from a golden pocket, you can enter a trade like this. Okay, let's say you see the bounce, we're getting the bounce. What you can do is you can long here, and you know, okay, I think we're bouncing from a golden pocket, which means if we come below that golden pocket, I'm wrong, okay? And then you can shoot for, you know, the next major zone of resistance, which in this case is a beautiful 4-to-1 risk-reward ratio, right? Or you could be a little bit more aggressive with it and say, you know what, I'm going to shoot for the golden pocket from this high way up here, where we're currently at now, right? And so you know where you're wrong. That's what's so great about trading golden pockets. You know when you're wrong, all right? So if you get stopped out, you're risking 1%. Let's say you take a partial profit at the golden pocket. You just made like 4% on your whole account, risking 1%. And then the same deal. This was also a golden pocket. So when you see we're rejecting from it, you can take a short trade from around here. You know where you're wrong, right? And then you would shoot down for the first support. This is a nice like 2-to-1 risk-reward trade right here, okay? This really is the first support at the retest of this high. And then, of course, we could look down lower, but this would be a nice TP1 in my opinion. So, yeah, golden pockets are great places to look for trade entries because you know where you're wrong. And so it will keep you from risking too much, right? But there's a lot of different ways to get an entry on a trade, right? There's a lot of different ways. Shout out to everybody. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here. Aaron G says lifting is not pointless. I agree with you, Aaron G. I don't think lifting is necessarily pointless. But when I take an outside view of my life, I think to myself, you know, if I didn't live in modern society and I was trying to survive off the land, it would be kind of pointless because I'd be wasting my strength and calories for something that's not necessary to live, you know what I'm saying? So I recognize that fact about it, but there are some good health benefits for it. I don't know if the way I do it is necessarily super beneficial. I tend to do everything to the extreme, you know? So shout out to Omar, shout out to Revy, Shout out to Saira Chowdhury. Any trade to take right now? So for me right now, there's 2 trades I would be looking to take on Bitcoin. None of them would be right here. Okay, this is a no trade zone for me. There's 2 trades I'd be looking to take on Bitcoin right now. First of all, I would be interested in getting a move back down to around this retest here, right around here, because it is the golden pocket and the 786 level, right? And just the retest and just the historic support resistance flip, right? So we're coming down kind of close to that. If I see bullish divergences in this area, I would look for a long trade. Now, the short trade for me is going to have to be coming up to make a new high around $44,000, basically taking out these highs right here and getting a rejection with bearish divergences, right? So I would actually be interested in something like this, or I would also be interested in something like this, where we come up back to this area. Those are the only 2 areas right now I am personally interested in trading Bitcoin, right? I am not interested in anything else right now. I am not interested in anything else right now. So, all right, let's take a look at some other assets here. I do want to know if Bitcoin comes down to this zone. And I'm going to put an alert here. And also, let's see if Bitcoin gets a pump back up to this area. All right, cool. Let's take a look at some other things here, guys. Let's take a look at Bonk. People are wanting to look at Bonk here. All right. Man, look at Bonk. It is crazy. Let's remove all this stuff here. So we're on the daily time frame. What do we see on Bonk? Well, slight bearish div here. Money flow starting to come out on the daily. It definitely looks like we could cool off a bit more here. Let's go to the 4-hour. Ooh. I mean, that was a pretty gnarly money flow divergence there on the 4-hour. Let's see what we got going on here on Bonk. Now, first of all, we are in price discovery mode, right? I mean, this thing is pumping like crazy. We also have to acknowledge that this has been acting as a support resistance flip here. Let's go ahead and mark that out. Man, this is crazy, right? This is insane. I have it on log scale to give us a little bit more clarity here. Let's let's use some fib extension tools here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing from this low to that first high to the low. Let's see what we got. Where did we come up to? Wow. The 4618 right there. This one came up to the 2. Wow, interesting. Interesting. All right, so overall, I do have to say that it does look to me like we want to come down a little bit more here. It really does look like we want to come down a little bit more here. Let's go to our daily time frame again. Let's mark out some key zones of support. Let's take a fib from this last low to the high. All right, so we are at that golden pocket, finding some support, but it's really not the most bullish looking bounce in the world here. Okay, so we are at this high volume node. And yeah, honestly, I would say this. I would say that the next major area of support is going to be the retest of this area, because we have ourselves quite a few confluences, a 786, a value area low, and a daily level. And it's this previous zone of consolidation down here as well. So I would be looking for more downside on this before a bounce, honestly. And if Bitcoin is going to top out, we need to be prepared for these meme coins to get murdered, basically, right? So these types of crazy uptrends here, they're great until all of a sudden they stop working. So money flow right now is coming down on the 4-hour. Man, it would be really nice to come down into this box. If we don't come down into the box, the only other opportunity I see for potential bounce on this is the following, where, I mean, basically where we take out the lows here and then reclaim the level. Like, let's say we get like a wick down to here, and then we come back in. Once we come back in, that could be an opportunity, but I would prefer to come down a little bit lower. If we come down a little bit lower, that would be a change from what we've seen during this past crazy pumpage, right? So yeah, I would like to see us dip down a little bit lower. I would really like to see us just kind of either come down, not to the box, but man, if we come into the box, that could be really nice, especially if it happens quick. That could be a nice little bounce there, and we may or may not make a new high. I don't know. This thing has been pumping like a wild lady, so I think a lot of it's contingent upon what Bitcoin does as well. Can we check XRP? You know what? I'm not really a fan of XRP. It's super boring. I don't think it's very tradable right now. If you're into XRP, I mean, you should be holding XRP and accumulating XRP and selling it in, you know, early 2025, honestly. Shout out to Autumn Wani. God bless you. Thanks for being here. Shout out to Joe Free. Yeah, let's see what else we got here. All right, JTO. Let's take a look at JTO. So yeah, for me, Bonk, I would like to get a dip down, basically, to retest this area. That would be the best scenario, but the less than best scenario is simply just if we are watching the chart and we get a move down below this bottom here, right, that we made on Wednesday, December 20th, and then get a reclaim of that level with some bullish divergences. That's a valid long setup, right? A valid swing failure pattern, right? It is a valid swing failure pattern. So if we come down here and we lose that green line at 17.4579 with this pattern on the chart right here, like this, the uneven butt cheek pattern, that to me is a valid long. And because this is crazy bullish territory, you know, if we get into a long like that, then I would hold it. I would look for a new high, right? The trend is your friend until the end of the trend. All right, Bitcoin coming down right now to the golden pocket. Let's watch what she does here. Let's watch what she does. Let's check out what's happening on an order flow chart. Wow, it's also the VWAP here. It's also the VWAP. So basically, open interest flat. We did have a few shorts short this area here. They're still open. Longs, nothing too much. Nothing too exciting is actually happening here at this level. You know, low volume. It is a holiday. But nonetheless, it is a golden pocket. And so this, for me, is a really important zone for the long trade that I am currently in on Bitcoin. It's a real important zone. So let's see what happens here, guys. Yeah, Bitcoin's tapping the golden pocket. That's for sure. All right, we'll take a look at DOT, because DOT has broken out of the wedge. DOT is very bullish. So here's my stance on a lot of these coins, guys. When it comes to these altcoins, and I've been saying this now because this is just my strategy, my style of trading. If we're looking for massive gains on altcoins, we should be looking at the coins that have not broken out yet, right? Because after a huge breakout, yes, we can trade bull flags and stuff like that, but eventually we have to understand that we're kind of missing the move here, right? So DOT right now has broken out of this wedge, right? We've broken out of the wedge, and we've already gotten a move to the upside of about, what is it, like almost 100% now? 150%. That's insane. So our target of the rising wedge is somewhere around $10.50, let's say. Right? This is the technical target of the wedge, which basically means we have a lot of downward potential here, but our upward potential is about 15%. Could we come higher than 15%? Yes, but we also have to remember that Bitcoin is also under key resistance, which means when Bitcoin gets its pullback, these altcoins are also going to get their pullback. So there's a lot of altcoins that have not yet broken out of their falling wedge, right? There's a lot of coins that are just now breaking out, and in my opinion, is a good time to buy. But this one, we have to be honest and say, you know what? We missed the, like, if you weren't holding Polkadot or longing Polkadot at the breakout, we missed out on 150%, right? So this is not something I would say that I would be looking for, like, a low leverage play on, right? Because it could be the top, right? We don't know. We need to go down to a lower time frame right now to look for some kind of entry. All right. So what I like to do is I like to pull the volume, kind of see what we got going on here. I like to pull some fibs. Let's see what we got going on here. So for me on DOT right now, if this uptrend is going to continue, right? And every trade we take, every investment we make is contingent upon whether or not we think the uptrend will continue. If the uptrend does continue, I would really like to see us basically break down from this kind of rising wedge pattern here, right? And basically retest this support resistance flip around, you know, $8.20. It's the golden pocket, it's the value area high of the range, it's the target of the wedge. And if we come down to here, around $8.25, I would want to see market cipher beat getting me a nice bottom on the 4 hour, right? That'd be really nice if we could get some kind of a bottom, some kind of a trigger wave on the 4 hour, right? It could be a tight one above the zero line. Better would be if it comes down a little bit below the zero line, but it's nice and tight, something like this, right? Something like this or something like this. Both of those are really nice and powerful uptrends. Money flow getting thick. That's where I would look on DOT to get in, right? If we could get that retest. Now, are we guaranteed to get it? No, we're not. But that gives us a really nice entry point because once again, we know where we're wrong because we're looking to long the golden pocket 786. We know basically if we come below this low, our idea is wrong, and we know our target is up here. Okay. Now, honestly, if we're taking the trade and we're seeing the bounce, we could enter with a tighter stop. That's not a bad trade idea. And if you're super bullish on DOT, you could say, well, maybe we'll come up higher, and maybe we will. But this is a valid setup for me, in my opinion, where I would look to trade it. Would I trade this right now? Personally, no. And the reason why is because, let's say, even if I'm convinced that we're going to come higher, this is not a good risk-reward setup for me, right? Because I know we're forming a bearish pattern with some bearish divergences, and our downward target is about the same as our upward target. So it's just not worth it for me to take the trade. Because the way I trade is I like to pick the setups that give me the most reward for the amount of risk, right? If I'm going to risk 1% of my stack just to earn 1% of my stack, that's dumb when I could wait for a potential setup where I'm risking 1% of my stack to make 7% on my stack. Like, you know, so that's, trading is not just about predicting where it's going to go. It's about waiting for a good setup, because those good setups, those good risk to reward ratios over time done with good risk management, that's what's going to make you successful over time, right? You could be right just randomly throwing money at stuff, but if you don't have that risk management down with the risk reward ratios, and it just takes 1 or 2 trades to wreck all your gains. All right, address the MEXC. All right, shout out to Aaron G. We've got some super chats. Okay, hang on. Someone just told me. Okay, no, see, this doesn't have it. I need to update my software because... Alright, shout out to Dippy. Can we check Dot? Yeah, we're checking Dot right now. Shout out to Dippy J. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. God bless you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Shout out to Singularity XX. Do I think altcoins will continue pumping or correct? I think they will continue to pump so long as Bitcoin does not start to lose 40K. Because if Bitcoin loses 40K, and I should say this, 38K. 38K for Bitcoin, that is still, in my opinion, part of the range. And if we get a really bullish bounce from 38K, we can see altcoins hold and then start to pump more when Bitcoin comes up to 50K. It's contingent upon Bitcoin. Right now, altcoins are pumping because Bitcoin is doing nothing for all month. Like all of December, for the last 20 days, Bitcoin has been in a very small range, okay? So I know that's not a real answer, but that's why when I'm doing the TA for these altcoins, I'm saying, look, the trend is our friend until the end. So we're looking for entries here. That doesn't mean they're going to play out. It just means we're assuming that the trend will continue. So we keep looking for long trades until the trend doesn't continue. And if we take a loss, we take a loss because that's part of trading. And then when the trend changes, we stop looking for longs. You know? All right. MEXC. There's been a lot of FUD about MEXC. All right? On X, on Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter, right? Because I'm not down with X. Because if you look into like where the whole idea for that came from, it's from China's Everything app, which is not a good place for us to go. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I digress. What do I think about MEXC? I've been using MEXC since 2022. I've had no issues with MEXC. I've been trading on it for a long time now, 2 years, and I've never had any issues with it, ever. I've only had positive experiences. People say, Jason, of course, it's because you trade live. They're not gonna mess with you because, you know, if they mess with you, you have a platform. Well, here's the thing. I have a lot of MEXC accounts, and they have no idea it's me because I don't KYC. I've got 4 accounts on MEXC, right? I've never had an issue with any of them. I've been hearing about this FUD on MEXC for a long time. It's not new. It's been here for a long time. I know thousands of traders in my Discord. I don't know of anyone who's had a problem. I've talked to other crypto YouTubers who use MEXC who have communities also, thousands of traders. Nobody's ever had a problem. So I don't know what to think about it, but here's the truth. No matter what exchange you're on, you need to make sure that you are not putting anything on the exchange that you're not prepared to lose. I mean, that's the reality of it. FTX, the most trustworthy, Forbes magazine, United States owned company, right? The most reputable exchange out there was a Ponzi. So if the most reputable exchange turned out to be a Ponzi, then any non-KYC exchange could be a Ponzi. I don't know. All I know is my own personal experience, right? I've talked to the guys at MEXC. They say, of course, they would say this because it's their dang exchange. I'm just giving you the information I have. They say that other exchanges are upset because traders are moving to MEXC. I don't know. I would say this. There's a lot of incentive to trade on MEXC because of the fees. You know what I'm saying? So, and the fees are nice, and that's why I trade on MEXC, because of the fees. I can scalp the 5-second time frame on MEXC and be profitable marketing in to trades on the 5-second. That's great. I can't do that on BingX. I can't do that on ZoomX. I can't do that on Bybit. You know? And people say, well, how are the fees so low? Well, the fees weren't always that low. When I first started trading on MEXC, they were higher than Bybit's fees. They only changed their fees to so low after Bybit started requiring KYC. Seems like a pretty good business move if you ask me, because everybody in the United States who was trading on Bybit had to go to what? BitGet, BingX, or MEXC. And if you have a choice between BingX or MEXC, where BingX you're going to lose an arm and a leg in fees, but MEXC you can market in, market out, and be profitable, what are you going to choose? Right? And they're starting to raise their fees back now. And you know, so my opinion on it is I don't know. I don't know. But like all other things in crypto, we just keep doing it until it goes away, be smart about it. I don't keep all my money on the exchange. You know, a lot of times I only keep enough money on the exchange to open a couple of trades, and that's it, with leverage, right? I'm keeping very little capital on the exchange. If MEXC was gone tomorrow, if they froze my account tomorrow, it would suck, but it's not going to take me out, right? So that's the mentality we have to have. Doesn't matter if it's Coinbase, doesn't matter if it's FTX, doesn't matter if it's Bybit, whatever it is. You know, and I only have anecdotal stories from random people on Twitter, but I have more stories from people in my own community and other communities that I know who said I've never had a problem. So that's all the information I have about it. I'm not in a position to address it in any other way. XRP321, what happened? Like, send me a message on X then. If you have an issue, send me a message on Twitter. They have stop losses failed due to network volatility. Yeah, so they have had issues with the network, but they will refund you. Like, they've refunded people in my community that have had that issue. So look, I haven't had an issue with it. So if you're uncomfortable, get off the exchange. If you're uncomfortable, get off the exchange. For me, I'm gonna stay on. I know about the FUD, so if something happens, I'm not gonna complain about it. I'm gonna say, well, I had the information, I got to weigh it out and make an informed decision. All right, let's take a look at Theta. Man, I'll tell you, Theta is breaking out. In fact, I'm bullish on Theta, as I've been in the past few streams here. We're up to value area high of the range. We've broken out. My next main target for Theta is going to be $2.25. The support resistance flip. I do believe we're going to hit it just based on how bullish things are looking now. This is the daily time frame. I actually still think there's a little bit of room for upside. Here's the thing. We've been watching Theta now for a while, so we've had plenty of time to get in this last little move up, about a 50% move to the upside. I would be cautious right now because we are at resistance. In an ideal scenario, we'd want to wait for a pullback because we're at value area high of the range. So I don't know if we're going to get it, but beautiful looking support right now is going to be around $1.26 golden pocket high volume node. Support resistance flip, and if we get a little bit of a retest down to here after getting a nice bullish change in market structure, bullish divergences on the weekly, I mean, this chart just looks so bullish, then I would be looking for a move from here of another 100% up to $2.25. So if we can come back down to like $1.12, I'm sorry, not $1.26, $1.12, that high volume node, you know, $1.10 and $1.12, that would be a really nice opportunity in my opinion, because we've changed market structure already. Like, we've broken the resistance, we put in higher highs, we had very bullish divergences down at these lows. This is a very nice looking bottom signal for me. This is a very nice bottom signal for me. And Theta, we have to also understand, you know, if this is me looking as a trader, but if I'm looking as actually like an investor to like build a portfolio, I do hold a lot of Theta because my brother got me into it back in 2020, in the summer of 2020. He got me into Theta, so I bought a lot of Theta down here, and I haven't sold any. That was a bad idea, but I haven't sold any, okay? So I still got a pretty big bag of Theta. But here's the thing, we're looking at this in terms of potential upside. We're talking over 1,000% gains here, right? So if we're going to be looking at this as like a spot hodl, if we start to DCA in here while we're still in the value area, like we're at resistance, we're at the top of the value area, right? But we have to think to ourselves, the weekly looks so dang bullish, right? Even if Theta comes down and makes a new low here, right? This is still a 17-to-1 risk-reward ratio. And if it's a spot hold, we're not really losing any theta. It's just going down in value. It's not a loss unless we sell, right? It's cliche, but look, here's the thing. Every investment, every trade we make, we have to take something for granted. And the thing I'm going to take for granted on theta is that I do believe it's going to put in a new high. I do believe that the bear market is over. I do believe any dip we get now on leading into April 2024 is going to be a buy the dip opportunity. Which means right now, based on the things I'm taking for granted to believe, doesn't mean they're true, but I'm believing them, it's actually more risky not to buy theta than it is to buy theta, because this thing has 1,000% upward potential and only 62% downward potential. Right? That's 20 times more the reward than risk. And let's say we do get a little pullback here and we put in a higher low and then we get an average entry of about, let's say, 81 cents. Right? Well, now that's 57 times more reward than risk here. Right? It's a 2,000% gain on our spot position here. Right? So I'm bullish on theta. I like theta. I hold that theta. Right, but this is not financial advice. I'm just a guy in a treadmill, nice and sweaty, bad lighting, plunger on the face. All right, backwards hat. Shout out to Dippy J, Gala or Matic. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a little look here. Gala. Man, Gala. That was a good one to trade back in the day. So Gala is kind of like the same here. Lots of upward potential. Lots of upward potential. 2,000% upward potential. So Gala is one of these coins right now, guys, that has not broken out yet, right? Has not broken out yet. This is log scale. Let's take it off log and see what we got. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 All right. Yeah. So this thing has not broken out yet. We're on the weekly. We don't see any bullish divergences on the weekly, which doesn't necessarily mean it's not the bottom, but it's nicer to see the bull div. On the daily, yes, we got the bull div on the daily. Looks nice. All right. We have not broken out yet. For me, Gala is definitely a coin to be buying on spot. All right, not financial advice, but we have not yet broken out of the wedge, okay? If we break the wedge, our target is going to be around 7 cents, all right? Which means from where we are right now, that is a move of about 100%, okay? Now, if we accumulate while we're still in the wedge, once we do break out, all right, it's about 100% gain, but looking at this as more of a long-term spot play, right? Look at the potential gains on this thing, right? It's just like theta. It's like the upside potential on this is so much more than the downside potential, even if we put in a new low, right? Assuming, once again, that the bull market comes, assuming that because we're heading into the Bitcoin halving, holding these altcoins is a good long-term investment for the next few years, right? We are looking at 95 times more reward than risk, even if we put in a new bottom, right? If we accumulate within the wedge. Right, let's say we get a little bit of a pullback here and our average entries in the middle of the wedge. This could be like an 80-90% risk-reward ratio, right? Even if we were to buy it now, if we put in a new low, that's still a 50 times more reward than risk, even if we bought right now. And if we bought right now, okay, and when we make a new high, in hindsight, nobody's going to say, oh, you bought too high, right? No one's going to be like, oh, dang, like, I should have waited for a pullback. No one's going to be thinking that, okay? People are going to be like, man, I'm glad I bought before we broke out. Because there's going to come a day when Gala's up here, and people are going to be like, what do you think about Gala? And I'll be like, well, I don't know. We're buying high. We just had a 500% pump, so I don't know. You should have been getting into it down here. Now's our chance to be getting into one of these coins before it breaks out. So, you know, this is like, you know, DOT we missed, ICP we missed, right? This one we haven't missed yet. I actually don't hold any Gala, but maybe I should. Maybe I'll get a little bag. I might get a little Gala bag, a nice bag of Gala apples. Nice bag of Gala apples. All right, let's check on Bitcoin because ICP will 1000x. Yeah, ICP very well may 1000x. Honestly, it very well may. It very well may. So, you know, you got to do you. You got to make the investments you want to make at the times you want to make them, right? Alrighty. Well, guys, man, it's been a good stream. I'm going to head out. But God bless you all. In Jesus' name, even if you are not religious, I still pray you and your family are super blessed. And may the Lord bless you and protect you and shine light upon you and have grace upon you. May He turn His face towards you and give you wholeness. If you celebrate Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.